What's happening, everybody? Of course, it's your host Brink Young, and you are tuning in to the most award-winning talk show in Memphis, Atlanta, and Mobile, Alabama. Of course, all the trophies in the back, all 10 of them. I'm talking about Brink TV. Now, to not adjust your TV set, we got some new faces on the couch. I'm gonna have to let them, introduce themselves. Of course, we got my guy Broke Boy Six, but who you got with you, homie?
Just right here. This underground legend, this Hanya Chaos. He's a secret weapon.
Believe that, believe that. First thing I gotta say, thank y'all for coming on the show. Means a lot to have y'all kicking it with us.
Oh, for sure. I mean, to be honest, you a legend, man.
Ah, man, I appreciate it.
I done seen you interview everybody.
Yeah. Well, hey, gotta stay consistent out here. And the thing is, even though, you call me a legend, man, I gotta continue to make new stars. You already made, though. You know what I'm saying? But now you finna get the stamp certified from Brink TV. So let's go and get into it, man.
Yeah.
So we gotta talk about you, man. First and foremost, man, where you from?
I'm from South Jackson.
Okay.
That's Jackson, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And I'm from the hood I'm from. It's called Bemis.
Okay.
Yeah, like anybody that's watching this, they might know. If they from Jackson, they know what it is.
Yeah.
And we call it the Beam.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. But I've been in the Memphis area for like the last 7 years.
Okay, believe that. Definitely shout out to everybody out there in Jackson.
That's a
I used to be out there. You know what I'm saying? Old Hickory. I used to be out there, Big Kahuna, all that. Back in the day. Of course, hey, I done got old now. I don't just be moving like that no more. But definitely shout out to Jackson. So, at what age did you start doing music, man?
When I started, I kind of always been like rapping, like freestyling and shit. Like in cafeteria, we would have like battle raps and like in school. That's what I'm gonna say. In school, we would have battle raps in the cafeteria.
Okay.
And and then like I kind of got into like the metal scene for a little while, For sure, like some of my homies, they was all like in like a deathcore band, like shit. They went like on tour and shit. They took me with them.
Wow.
Like sometimes I would do like backup vocals and shit.
So you mean to tell me you got your first taste of stardom at a young age?
Yeah.
Like we talking about on tour, on stage, like performing. Like what was that experience like for you at a young age, man?
Well, like I didn't really, when you're young, you don't really think about it. Really, I don't guess. Like I didn't really think too much about it. But it's like now that I'm out here really doing it, I look back at it like, dang, like, whoa, like I couldn't believe like I did that. And it was like it happened so easily. Right. Compared to like now, it's like you got to work super hard. But it's like, I was like, they would take me basically because like. It's gonna sound crazy, but like basically I was like their drug dealer.
Okay, that don't sound too crazy.
Yeah. So like this was in high school too, and like the drummers and a few other guys, they would do their thing or whatever, and like we was all homies, you know what I'm saying? But they were like, hey, woo, you need to ride with us, and like basically I would go out and like help them promote. I was like part of the street team. Yeah. And then also I get in the mosh pits. It was a thing called HXC. Okay. And like you get like a line. It was like I don't know how to explain it. It was like coordinated mosh pitting, but it was like a form of art. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy, but yeah.
That's crazy, man. So 1 minute you making the band, next minute you serving the bands. You get drug dealing. I love it. Sure. I love it.
Oh yeah, and that's also when I first started rapping too. Cause some of the dudes in the band they would listen to hip hop. Some of them didn't. They was just strictly metal. Yeah. And they knew I could rap, so they had a studio. And so they would come in there and be like, hey, woo, you know what I'm saying? They would make beats and get me to rap on it. And that's really when I first started rapping, yeah. And I had a mixtape back then, but I went by a different name. And, but yeah, that never got released because the drummers and the guitarists actually ended up getting killed. Wow. Yeah, and all the music I had was on their tower, and you know what I'm saying, when they passed away, like I was just like devastated because I was like, bro, my homies, like people I was with day in and day out, just, you know what I'm saying, they was gone. And it was like, what I was supposed to do, I'm supposed to just go to their parents' house, be like, hey, I had a tape I was working on, can I get that? Like, no, I wasn't even worried about, like I didn't even fool with music no more after that for like the next like 7 years, like for sure. Like I wasn't even interested because they was like the ones that motivated me.
Yeah. Now off camera we was talking about like some of your musical influences, and you mentioned one group. Definitely got to say shout out to the Juggalos, ICP.
Whoop whoop.
Insane Clown Posse. So let's talk about like what did they mean to you growing up? You know, like what did their music do for you?
Man, it's like when I was young, like my dad had basically he put me on to him. Like one day I just remember he came in my room and he gave me some CDs. Well, we had tapes too, but he gave me some tapes and CDs, and ICP was one of them, and I felt like, I don't know. He was like, yeah, they're like gangster clowns. Yeah. He's like, I don't know. He was like, you'll probably like them. Yeah. And like, yeah, so like, I don't know. They were just different, and I like the horror type shit. I like scary shit. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead transition into your music, man. You got singles out. Hey, you got all kind of music. You told me off camera you got 16 singles out, man. 16 songs out right now, man. But it was 2 that you definitely wanted to pinpoint on. Which 2 singles was that, man? Big Bad Wolf and what?
Yeah, I got it's Big Bad Wolf featuring Bill Saber, and then I got another one's called Over 9,000 featuring Star Fox LaFleur.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He been on like World Star like several times.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now you told me that these singles, like one of them got like over 100,000 views on it, and what? Sure. Yeah, let's talk about it, man.
One of them sitting at like 150,000.
Wow.
Just the Over 9,000.
Okay.
But it's like I you know what I'm saying, like the anime fans and shit like that, they like they fuck with me, and it's like, so I knew if I named a song, you know what I'm saying, something related to anime, which Over 9,000 is from Dragon Ball Z.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of people know what Dragon Ball Z is, so like it was just a marketing tactic really, and you know what I'm saying, it worked.
Yeah.
Sure.
Believe that. Now, of course, you also got another single, another video I saw it with the homie White Sosa. Let's talk about it, man.
Oh yeah, that's Heard of Me. Yeah, like I had so shit. We probably the first time I met Sosa, we was out here just goddamn grinding, doing like open mics and shit, just little bitty shows. And I got done with a set, and I was walking off, getting ready to leave, and then he walks in, and he's got like his big hair or whatever, Johnny Bravo, and I was like, dang, what he the Memphis Vanilla Ice? Yeah. And he kind of noticed me too, cause you know we kind of stand out, and we just kind of like nodded or whatever. I ain't really think nothing of it. And then you know he went on stage, and I had left, so I didn't even hear what he sounded like. And then we ended up getting booked again, and like the venue was packed out, and I was like, dang, what's going on? They was like, White Sosa here, and I was like, so like what's that mean, you know? And then they was like, oh no, White Sosa done blew up, and I was like, dang, that's crazy. And like so I witnessed that junk happen like within a few weeks. So like the junk is possible, like so if you're an artist, like that can for sure happen, like if you got the right connection, for sure. And so like we got the same video guy, which is Phase FC, and they suggested that I should collaborate with him, which I ain't really think much of it because our styles really ain't the same, like, but like I like making art, so I was like, well, sure, I'll see what we can cook up, for sure. And so that's how that went down. Hey,
it's on YouTube right now. Like I say, the video is crazy. It's another video I was checking out, man. They Say My Name. Man, that video is dope as hell, man. I like that video, like the creativity of it. Like that's amazing. I'm tripping off old girl. Like she got and we ain't talking about a regular bag. She got the big paper sack, the brown paper sack over her head, and she just going in. Like it was phenomenal, man. So did you come up with all the creativity for the video, the treatment?
I directed that whole video. That was actually my first single I put out.
Okay.
So that was my first single, and pretty much what had happened was, actually when I first got in the scene, I was doing shows with the Juggalos, and I met this guy named Mr. Off Topic, and he's actually the one that linked me up. He linked me up with him, and then he linked me up with Phase FC, the one that shoots my videos. And then I hit up Phase, and I was like, look, man, like, this is my first video, so whenever you normally hit up a camera guy, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, woo woo, they think it's gonna be some basic shit. So I was like, look, now this is my concept right here, and like I went and set everything up type shit, and like got the room and everything. I already knew how I wanted to play it, and then when they pulled up, this is the first time they meet me. So then they walk in, and usually they direct their own videos. So I don't think they ever had nobody else direct.
Right.
And then, so he walked in, he started directing. He's like, okay, I want you and old girl to start out laying in the bed. And I was like, no, like, I'm about to just bend her over. Like, I'm about to just throw a bag on her head and bend her over right here.
And go in.
And he was like, what? Like, he was blown away. I was like, yeah, like, this is how it's about to go down.
Right.
For sure, yeah. And they've been rocking with me ever since.
I like that, man. It's definitely dope. Like I say, that's on YouTube as well. Now, one thing we definitely got to talk about, man, of course, we in the pandemic and all of that, but before that, man, you was doing shows like crazy. We talking about in and out of town and all of that, man. What are some of the cool places that you've been to performing?
Man, really just right here in Memphis. Like, to be honest, like, we've been to a few other cities. Like, we've been to Houston, Arkansas, Mississippi. My very first show was actually in Mississippi. Okay. So the first time I ever got booked, it was in another state. Like, before I even ever did a show in Tennessee, period. Yeah, so, but yeah, no, Memphis is turned, like, it's probably the best, like, as far as, like, everywhere I've been so far, like, Memphis is lit, like, for sure.
So we talking about one day, whenever everything open back up, what could the people expect from a Broke Boy 6 show? Like, what could they expect? Just describe it for them.
Oh, man. I mean, if it could go, like, how I'd want it to go?
Yeah.
Oh, man, we would have some crazy shit going on. Like, we probably have, like, I don't even know. It's so, like, I don't even know where to even go with that. Like, I would really have to think about it. But it ain't going to be nothing normal. Like, I ain't just going to get up there rapping. Like, we're going to give you, like, a full-blown show with, like, lights and, like, shit, we'll have some actors, some dancers, some that damn people playing with flames. Like,
definitely got to crowd surf, man. Got to crowd surf, man. Maybe you could have the blow up dog crowd surfing too, man. That shit'd be crazy. I'm telling you, man.
Why I need a blow up dog?
Hey, we on some 2021 shit, man. We gotta go into it, man. We gotta think big. So let's go ahead and get into your story, man, because you were telling me some things off camera. We talking about, like, unbelievable. You know what I'm saying? Like, so let's go ahead and get into it, man.
Yeah, for sure. Damn. Alright, so basically, like, my parents was never together, and so, like, my mom had left my dad, like, and she just pretty much abandoned both of us, and, like, my dad really didn't know how to what to do with me, really. So, like, he basically, like, hired a babysitter, and, like, basically I just lived with her. Like, he just, like, left. And so, like, I didn't see neither one of them for a while. Like, my mom ended up going to prison. Like, she was in prison, like, pretty much my whole, like, childhood. Yeah. And my dad, like, he was pretty much just busy, like, working. Like, he was always just working or, like, partying with his friends and shit. Yeah. So, like, once, like, I guess he, like, matured, and, like, he picked me up one day, and then, like, we moved. And then whenever we moved, my dad ended up meeting his girl he was in love with in high school or some shit, just randomly, and just marries her, like, just out of the blue. Yeah. So I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And, like, she wasn't with like everything that I did, because I used to smoke. Okay. Like, I would smoke, and she would come in there and, like, find my stash. Yeah. And then she started, like, finding my guns and shit like that. And like, my dad, he knew what I was on, but, like, my stepmom, she wasn't really having it. So, like, my dad was like, all right, son, so, like, either you gonna have to, like, straighten up, like, or you just gonna have to leave. So, like, I just left. So
what age would you say this was?
Yeah, I was 14.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure. And so, like, also, like, at that same year, I got diagnosed with Crohn's disease. Wow. Like, prior to that, I was always in and out of the hospital. I would have internal bleeding. So sometimes I would be at, like, school, and I would have to, like, go to the bathroom or whatever, and, like, I would end up having internal bleeding, and I would go to and they never could figure out what was going on. And then eventually they finally diagnosed me. I had to go to, like, Le Bonheur in Memphis, and that was the first time I've been to Memphis too. And yeah, so I ended up getting diagnosed with Crohn's disease. So
at age 14, like, for you to get diagnosed, like, what did that mean to you? Like how did you receive that message? Like, how did you receive it?
I didn't really know what to think of it, because they told me I would probably end up, like, you know, dying in my 40s or whatever. And they pretty much said that it was, I didn't understand what a disease was, you know. a disease is something that's uncurable. So it was something I was gonna have to live with my whole life, which would, you know, comes with like pain, bleeding, and honestly, like at that point, like I kind of just wanted to give up. Like I didn't even really want to be here anymore, and I didn't understand like why me, like why, you know, I see all these like other kids, you know, they live like a great life, and those would be the same kids that would be picking on me at school,
right,
and not even knowing what, you know, I had going on at the house, and yeah, so yeah, I didn't really want to be. I don't even know how to even talk about it.
Yeah, I feel you, because I mean, it's definitely devastating, like already what you've been through as far as your parents, because like the parents are supposed to be the anchor in your life. You know, they're supposed to be the ones that's kind of setting you on the path that you should go. Mom ends up in prison. That's unfortunate. Dad decides, hey, you know, I'm gonna put you off on somebody else. Let me just kind of get myself together. Then he comes back, and then boom, this happens. So I can definitely see how, you know, that's devastating. We talking about 14 years old. Most kids, man, 14, that's middle school. You know what I'm saying? Like, you still trying to figure out what you want to be. You know what I mean? You might be messing with sports or trying to figure out which girl you finna grab her booty or something like that. But to be diagnosed with Crohn's is like, I really, like, my ignorance, I don't even understand. Tell me exactly what is Crohn's disease. I've heard of it, but I'm not familiar. And I'm pretty sure viewers may not be as familiar with it. Go ahead, just kind of explain a little bit about what it is.
All right, so the best way to explain it is it's kind of like stomach cancer.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like you get like these knots or like ulcers in your stomach and your intestines and your esophagus, and basically what happens is your body recognizes, let's say you got like a cut on your arm,
right?
So your body's like, okay, you got a cut, and then it's going to try to repair itself. So with this, it can't repair itself, so it ends up damaging itself. So your body starts killing itself. Yeah, and then it just makes it spread, and it's wild, and a lot of people die from it, and you end and I do get treatments for it. I go to a chemo clinic, and basically I get something that's kind of like radiation,
right?
But it's called Remicade.
Yeah.
And basically what that does is like lowers my immune system.
Okay.
So like for example, coronavirus. Let's say I caught the coronavirus, I could potentially die from it.
Right.
Yeah. So like it's like a win-win. Like I can't. There's nothing you can really do about it. And then it also led to me getting diabetes.
Wow.
Yeah. So now I also have diabetes and arthritis.
Wow. So we talking about all of this pretty much compound, age 14. What do you do? What happens next? What happened next, man?
Well, like I said, I pretty much didn't really know what to do. So like I pretty much just turned to the streets, which is crazy. But I just started out smoking weed because like I thought, you know what I'm saying, it made me feel better.
Yeah.
It helped with my depression.
Yeah.
I wasn't hurting as much.
Yeah.
But you know, when you do that, it ends up leading into, you know, other things. You know what I'm saying? So it pretty much got me around, you know, the wrong crowd, and like one thing led to another. Yeah, so like, you know, I ended up getting like incarcerated. Like after high school, I ended up you know, catching charges. Yeah, and I go to jail a few times. Which was crazy. Like my biggest charge was because of marijuana. Yeah. And you know, now it's about to be legal. And you know, whenever I got caught up, I had 3 pounds, and I had a gun. So that's a big deal, you know. But luckily at the time in Jackson, this was like 2010. They had this thing going on where it was like they was trying to clean the street up from guns. It was to the point that everybody that was getting pulled over had a gun on them. Like, you know, now, like, if just about anybody gets pulled over has got weed on them. Right. When in Jackson, everybody had guns on them. Yeah. So they was just throwing the gun charges out because everybody had a gun. Right. It was crazy.
Oh, man, we talking about Jackistan. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jackistan ain't nothing to play with.
Yeah, the only reason why I had a gun was to defend myself, straight up. Right. Yeah. But you know, cause I started out smoking, then once I figured out the game, I was like, well, you know, if I sell it, then I can smoke it.
Right.
And it, you know, that was all it really started out being.
Yeah.
And then it turned into like a whole ass criminal mind.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
So,
then I was stuck in that shit for years.
How long were you incarcerated, man? How long you had to sit down?
The longest I ever did was because of the one time they got me because of the 3 pounds and the strap.
Yeah.
And I was in that hole for like 6 months,
Yeah.
but it was maximum security.
Right.
Yeah.
Ain't no moving.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I knew it.
It was maximum security, and honestly, I don't think they probably would have let me. I probably would have been in there longer if it would have been for my health problems.
Yeah.
Like, it was bad because, you know, like I said, I get a treatment.
Right.
So while I was in there, I was literally just bleeding out.
Right. Because I mean, you don't get the most adequate care when you're in prison. You know,
And while I was in there, I was trying to tell them, I was like, look, I got Crohn's disease. I got to get my treatment like once a month. They was like, well, you shouldn't have got in trouble. And I was like, bro, but y'all don't understand. Like, this ain't, like, I didn't mean to, like, that ain't what I wanted. Like, I didn't want to come here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was messed up. Like,
yeah.
I don't even. That's a whole nother story. We could, what all happened there would be a whole separate story for sure. But yeah, then I got out on probation. I was on probation for like 5 years.
Okay.
For sure. And,
all right, so now we off papers, we off everything now. We still.
Oh yeah, I'm super straight now.
Okay.
But like right after I got out and I was on probation, like that made me turn into even more of a beast.
Yeah.
Because like at that point, then you can't even get it. Even if you wanted to get a job, we're in Jackson. You can't get hired. I couldn't even get hired at McDonald's.
Wow.
Yeah, if you had any type of charge. Yeah, you couldn't even get hired at McDonald's. So then I had to figure out some other shit to make money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's you get trapped.
Yeah.
It's a trap.
So after going through all of that, like, what would you say was that wake up point or that redemption point where you feel like, you know what, man, I got something to live for, you know? Damn what the doctor's talking about. Damn, you know, these charges, damn these obstacles. Like, what point made you say, I got something to live for?
I know exactly when that happened. So when that happened, I was actually on the run.
Okay.
So I was on the run, and I had a girlfriend, and she was on the run with me, and she had got pregnant.
Okay.
And at that point, you know, then I realized, I was like, okay, so now I see, you know what I'm saying, I'm about to bring a life into, and then that made me think, like, dang, now I know why my parents did what they did, because they was probably in a similar situation as I'm in right now.
Yeah.
So I was like, and I refused for my kid to live the way I did.
Yeah.
Like, shit. So like pretty much that was like the wake up call. And it was crazy, like we was sleeping in like cars, like sheds. We at that time we was staying with some stranger. We didn't even know who they was. They just let us like stay the night.
Yeah. And
I told her the next day, like I was like, look, you know, this is what it is. Like, I'm about to just go turn myself in and squash all this. And then what had happened was one of my homeboys ended up calling, like the charges that I was on the run for. My homeboy was with me, and with all of it, and he ended up turning himself in, and he convinced them that I had nothing to do with the whole situation.
Yeah.
So luckily, like, he took the whole fault, which you know what I'm saying, like he owed me some money and stuff anyway, and that's all he knew. Like he's been in prison his whole life.
Yeah.
So like once I realized that, I was like, oh, I got a second chance. Because in my mind, I'm sitting here thinking I'm about to spend the rest of my life in prison. Yeah. Like that's all I could see. Yeah. And so when I told her, you know, like there's no, like, this is how that was supposed to happen. Yeah. So I was like, tomorrow, like, I'm getting straight, like this is it, like. Yeah. I told her, cause at the time, like, I was cooking dope. Yeah. And she was on dope too. and then the next day I woke up and she was gone. Wow. She was gone. All my stuff was gone. Like she took my clothes, even my underwear. Wow. Yeah. So like, and that was like my wake up point, because I thought I had a baby on the way, and I ended up finding out later on. I went through some other people to figure out where she was at, and then she ends up going and staying with some dude in Louisiana because she couldn't get clean, you know, and I got clean, and that ain't what she wanted, but she ended up miscarrying because she couldn't get clean. Yeah. And that was pretty much my wake up point, and then pretty much I contact some of my family that lived up here. Yeah. And I told them my whole life story. They'd never even heard it before.
Wow.
And I told them the whole situation. They was like, well, we're going to try to help you. And sure enough, like, they came and picked me up, and yeah, and that's how I got up here. And then once I got up here and got focused, then it made me really think what I really wanted to do in life. You know what I'm saying?
So we was talking, man, and you told me that you feel like your whole sole purpose of being here is music. Why is that?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that led to whenever I got up here, I worked some, you know, odd and end jobs. Then my cousin and my uncle started this construction company, and they wanted me to come work for them. And so we ended up having to go up to Minnesota and like South Dakota and shit like that. And basically, we had to shovel shit. That's what it felt like. We was shoveling shit.
Yeah.
And I realized, I was like, this ain't it. This is not what I want. I was like, if I'm about to put money into starting a company, like, I'm going to do what I want to do. And then I got to thinking, like, what am I really into? And then, you know what I'm saying? And then I realized, like, dude, I'm always on my phone looking at, you know what I'm saying, rappers and, like, interviews, this and that. And I was like, and I can rap. Like, I would be rapping when we was on the road. Like, I'd be riding with my cousin. I'd be freestyling the whole time. Yeah. And then it made me think, like, well, shit, I was gonna try that. Like, I'm just gonna put, you know, all the cards on the table to do that. Like, it's like that or nothing. Like, and then a few other things started taking place. And like, basically when I met him, that's when, like, I can't even put into detail like how it felt, but I was like, okay, now I know what I'm here for. Like, yeah, it's crazy.
So what would you say is next for you, man?
Purifying the underground. I think, like, my next move is, like, I'm about to die on the cross for the underground. Okay. Like, that's what's about to happen for sure, because ain't nobody else doing it. And like, since I'm like in Memphis now, like this is what, like, I'll die for this shit. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, I say that on Facebook all the time. Like, I was like, I'll die for this shit. Like, it's real. And you know, I see there's a bunch of like artists outside of Memphis that's like, they've been doing it for a while, like jocking the Memphis sound type shit, but then they don't want to like pay homage. Yeah. So it's like, my goal is to basically purify the underground and like let them know, like, look, this might be y'all's favorite rapper, but the sound that they got or the sample they got came from this artist right here. Yeah. This is who y'all need to be listening to. Right. And that makes me mad, because there's people out here, you know what I'm saying, that's still struggling, while somebody else, they ain't even from here, like, straight up stole their shit. Like,
they're getting all the benefits of it, you know. Yeah.
It's crazy. And so, like, yeah. And then another thing that with Memphis, like, everybody on some hating shit, and everybody's like trying to make it a competition. Like, yeah, bro, like, we need to get it together. Like, we need to, like, I don't care if nobody else does it. Like, I'm gonna try my best to like to make this shit pop, and then like, then I'm gonna shine light on everybody that deserves light. Like, all the people in the underground in Memphis, like, for sure, like, that's my goal.
You know, I remember you was telling me you got a lot of features coming up, and you go, you know, I think you said you got about seven of them, right? You want to talk about some of that, or you want to surprise the people with it, or what?
Yeah, I got a jump with Tom Ski, which that's a perfect example. Like, he was one of the artists that people would sample. Yep. And then, you know what I'm saying, they would sample his shit, put it out, and then not even say, you know, shout out Tom Ski, right, or nothing like that. Skinny Pimp, like, all them folks. So like, my goal is to like try to shine some more light on them. I mean, they already got light. Yeah. But, you know, so I'm trying to shine the new light on them, like the new gen, where they'll know where the sound really came from.
And that'd be crazy, man. Like, sometimes, you know, I have like some of the OGs come on the show, and then I have maybe like a more up and coming, you know, artist. They, you know, I book them around the same time, so I'd be like, hey, I just want to introduce you to, you know, this person. They'd be like, oh, okay, what's up? Like it ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, nah, man, this legendary status right here. Like, you don't understand. You know, I remember one time, and I ain't just gonna say no names. Only name I'm gonna say is Al Capone. Did an interview where Al Capone had a young cat right after that. I was like, hey man, I definitely got to introduce you to Al Capone. This Scarface Al and this and that. He like, oh hey, how you doing? What's up? And I'm like, bro, you need to be soaking up some game right now. Like, seriously, because that's a real OG. You know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and change the flow of traffic real quick, man. Let's talk about, like, outside of music, what you be doing in your spare time, man. What you into?
Oh, man, it's straight music. Yeah. Like, if I'm not, mostly I work on, like, marketing and, like, promotion. Yeah. And, like, my brand. Like, that's all I do. Like, you can ask this man, like, that's all I do. That's all I talk about. Like, that's what, for sure. Like, that's it. Like, it's this or nothing. So, like, even if like I don't make it like as big as, like, you know, if I don't make it as big as I want, my plan is to shine what light I've built for myself onto some other artists. Yeah. You know what I'm saying, to help them, and, like, you know what I'm saying, maybe start like a label. Yeah. Or what, you know what I'm saying, because that's the goal. Like, I don't really do much outside. I mean, I might. Yeah, really not right. Like, I used to play video games. Or I go to the gym. Yeah. Yeah, I go, like, work out and shit. Cause I try to stay healthy.
I know you definitely in the movies though. Why I say that? Because Beetlejuice outfit, man, I can't go without saying it, man. See, you definitely know how to stand out, you know. And only real movie heads go, no, you know. It ain't just like he got stripes on like he just got out of jail. Of course, that wasn't what you was going for, right?
No, the jail stripes go the other way. They go sideways.
Exactly. So that's how I know you was going for the Beetlejuice
just let
look,
you know that we ain't gonna have no more sideways stripes.
Yeah. That's love. That's love. You got a message. Go ahead and give them all your social media, man, while we here.
It's Broke Boy 6. The B's are sixes, so it's 6 ROKE. Yeah, so 6 OY, and then SIX. But it only, you can just type in a 6 RO and it's gonna pull me up. You can go to Google. It don't even matter. Like, it's gonna pull up.
Yeah, you got any shout outs, anything before we get out of here?
Shout out Honey Chaos.
Believe it.
That's my dude right here.
Believe it.
Y'all gonna see who he is here soon. And I did the Halloween. I just did a Halloween show with Skinny Pimp. Yeah. That was lit. Shout out Skinny Pimp. Yeah. That was hard. Yep.
Shout out to the big homie Skinny. Hey, Skinny definitely doing this thing out here, man. I got one more question for you, man. Let's say there's an artist out there they thinking about giving up. What advice would you have for them?
Well, if you ain't ready to go all the way in with it, and if you just trying to half-ass it, just go ahead and give up right away. If you ain't trying to put no money in on it, and if you ain't got no type of hustle about you, go ahead and give it up. But if this is what you really want, because this shit cutthroat. Yeah. Especially if you're going to be a rapper, this shit is cutthroat. So, that's all I can really say. I mean, if you need some help with marketing or whatever, building your brand, I mean, you can hit my DM. We'll see what's up.
Most definitely. Like I say, this guy definitely know how to market himself, definitely know how to stand out. You guys make sure y'all check out the homie Broke Boy 6. He out here, been going viral for a minute. He ain't new to it. He been true to it. I got to say, thanks for coming on the show, man. It means a lot to have you.
For sure. I've been trying to do this for a minute.
Believe that.
You the first one to get the interview.
Believe that. Hey, we got the exclusive. We got to do that. Like I say, with that being said, now back to more Brink TV.